everybody. It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm back with another episode of Horizons Author Lounge. I'm excited because, I love when I have my fellow Southerners on the show. So we're going to be talking with an author from Texas, from Fort Worth, Texas, where I used to live once upon a time. So, it's kind of like going back home a little bit. So I like that. And then later on in the show, we're going to be talking with Richard Ashby, and we're going to be talking about the event that I'm going to be supporting this coming weekend, and he's going to tell you all about that. But before we get started with any of that, I'm super excited to announce our inaugural For the Culture Book Awards. The Forticulture Book Awards is going to happen. It's actually going to be awarded this coming February. I'm gonna come over here so y'all can see me. It's going to take place in February, but submissions open September 1st. This contest is strictly for fiction authors. I mean, fiction is my jam. It's my first love. It's the books that I write. And you know how seriously I take the art of writing. So I want to take that love that I have for the art of writing and take it even further. So we're going to have 3 prizes, first, second, and third. We're going to have cash and prizes worth $10,000, and it's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, I'm really looking forward to the submissions that we get. So I'm telling you early now, and I'm going to be talking about it all month. But on September 1st, I expect to see at least 100 submissions. I really submit to this contest so you can win awards, you can win cash, you can get exposure for your books. This is going to be something you don't want to miss. So if you are a fiction author, make sure that you hit the Meet the World Image Solutions website to get more information about this book awards program, and then make sure you submit your book. And no, you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money shipping 15, 20 books to me. You don't need to do that. You can send me a PDF, but it has to be a PDF of an already published book. And you cannot go through trying to edit the PDF before you send it to me. It needs to be the exact same thing that I would get if I opened up a physical copy of your book. So we have awards, we have rules for this. This is going to be a completely professional contest, and it's going to give you the exposure that your book deserves. So I really hope that you guys take part in this contest. So more information is going to follow on that. But in the meantime, I am about to bring on our first guest, Miss Onyx Brice. Hello. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored.
Yes. Well, we have been trying to get together for quite a while, so I'm glad we were finally able to make this happen.
Me too. Me
so,
too.
so before we get started, can you tell everybody who is Onyx Brice?
Okay, Onyx. My pen name is Onyx King.
Okay.
Brice is my married name, and I'm trying to slowly move things over and to that name. Okay. Antoinette is also it's my legal first name. Onyx is not only my pen name, it's also a family nickname. And it goes with the latest book that I've written called Even Me. Because Onyx, I always had a problem with people calling me names because I'm so dark. Actually, one time my uncle actually said to me, "Girl, you so black the oil light comes on when you get out the car."
See?
So that really hurt my feelings. And I went to my grandmother's. Now, y'all know grandmothers are very special. So my grandmother took me to a jewelry store. She showed me all of these beautiful pieces of jewelry with a black stone in the middle. And I said, "Mama, what is that?" And she said, "That stone is called an onyx. And you're as precious to me as that jewelry will be to the people who buy it."
Beautiful.
And I've been called Onyx ever since. And so,
Beautiful.
and I use that because my, grandmothers are very special. My grandmother in particular was very special to me, just like I'm sure yours was to you.
Absolutely.
Grandmothers are very special. And I use that as my pen name because that's actually my family nickname. And I got it from my grandmother.
I would tell you, there is such value, and I think so many people take it for granted, but there is such value when you have someone whom you love, who pours into you and helps you to feel special and to feel wanted and to make you feel a cut above. And that was something I always tried to do with my daughter since she was young. And I would tell her, you are a cut above, and I want you to carry yourself like you are a cut above. And just think, if we don't have people in our lives
Yeah.
who pour into us that way, where we could be. Because what if you didn't have your grandmother who poured into you like that and told you what an onyx was? Where would you be, and where would your self-esteem be?
Well, you know what? I think about I look at this picture. It's a little video of a little girl. She was 13 and she was absolutely beautiful. And her mom has been just like campaigning all over social media. The little girl killed herself because friends, I guess, bullied her and told her that she wasn't pretty. And I thought, wow, I thought I was the one that had that problem. But then I thought, no, most women do. I don't care if you're dark. I don't care if you're light. I don't care if
Yes.
you're old. I don't care if you're young. I don't care if you're tall, if you're short, if you're fat, if you're skinny. Somebody is always going to have something to say. And that brings me to my latest novel. And I wrote Even Me because I wanted people to realize it doesn't matter what other people say about you, because you know what? God loves even me.
Amen. So, do you have a copy of the book with you?
I don't have one in my hand. Like I said, I had a huge event on yesterday,
Yeah,
and I sold the books that I had. No, but
that's great
even
problems
me.
to have.
Thank you. Uh, I had an event on yesterday, but Even Me is available on Amazon. Pandemic is also available on Amazon. So yeah, so I do apologize. I don't have one
It's
actually. I'm gonna
okay.
stop.
It's okay. But we do have your website, and I'm sure that we can find your book on your website.
You can find it. You can find it actually even on Amazon. It's easier. Just go on Amazon and put Even Me by Onyx King, and it'll pop right up. And it's absolutely beautiful. The cover is so it's. I mean, people look at it like, oh my gosh, yeah, because it's really beautiful.
So,
But it's a beautiful book on the inside.
okay, and now remind me, is this fiction, or is it this more about yourself, nonfiction?
No, my life story is The Girl That Glows. Even Me deals a lot. It's a lot of hard stuff in it, though. I'm going to tell you now. It deals a lot with. Um, it deals a lot with domestic violence. It deals a lot with substance abuse. It deals a lot with a lot of different things, and so it's fiction, but it's actually based on actual experiences.
Right. I love that. I mean, I one of the reasons why I decided to write fiction. I mean, I don't think I ever want to totally write about my life. I'm very transparent. If you talk to me, we can have a conversation. But sometimes I feel like, I don't know, maybe the story will be better taken if we write it in a fictional way. I want people to identify with the characters, so I'll write about real life things. Or I like to do what I call the what if factor. And so I'll think about something that happened in my life and say, what if I would have responded this way? What if I would have done it that way? And then I write my story based on that what if factor.
Okay. I guess that's kind of cool, but like I said, I Even Me is just I've gone through a lot in my life, and that in us as women, we go through more than people can imagine.
Absolutely.
Some people will say, "Oh, she's so beautiful." Yeah, but somebody doesn't think so, and maybe somebody very close to her. So I know how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose that feeling in my life. See, I like getting my feelings out on paper. I'm People say you're shy. I said, yeah, just kind of I'm shy. I used to be, but I learned that by writing things down, I can tell you. I may not be able to tell you everything with these lips, but I can write it down.
Come on now.
I can write it down, and then you can see whatever it is. And so, like I said, Even Me is not my life story. It is fiction, but it
Mm-hmm.
is based on actual events.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. I think people can tell stories in different ways.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when did you fall in love with writing?
Well, I fell in love with reading first. I fell in love with reading first. I've liked to read probably since I was in the third grade. I'm 55 years old, and I have liked to read that long.
Yes.
Um, I just I always had a horrible low self-esteem. And so I could just lose myself in a book. And I would always make believe I was either this character or this character, or I could just live into that world. And I could always escape that way. I loved it always. And that's when I started, reading. Well, and so as I began to grow, I just began to experience a lot of things. Now, the fact that I am an avid reader has actually helped in my writing. So, like I said, I may not be able to tell people things that have happened in my life. And it started actually as a part of therapy. A therapist asked me if I could tell him about myself. And I was really kind of embarrassed to say some things, but I found that it was easier if I wrote it down and let him read it.
Yeah.
And so, when I first began to write, I remember because the first chapter of my life story is on Facebook. It was in 2013. And I wrote that first chapter and I was like, let me see how people will respond to this. I mean, maybe it's too much because, like I said, I always had a horrible low self-esteem. Did you hear me say 2013? That was barely 11 years ago. It's just that I've always thought I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for anybody. I mean, look at me, and I'm a nerd. Hey, I always felt bad about that. Since then, I've learned that, hey, I'm a cool nerd. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a cool nerd. I think it made being a nerd cool. We have book nerds. We have computer nerds. There's nothing wrong with being a nerd. But growing up, I mean, I'm not that much younger than you are. I'm 51. But I remember growing up, smart kids were made fun of. Yeah. I was teased all the time, called a bookworm and all these other things. Or I was even teased for visiting other countries. I mean, I had moved to New Orleans from Italy, and I was called that little Italy girl. I mean, and they told me I talked funny, and for a while I was ashamed of that I had seen and done in life. And I had done a lot by the time I was 8 years old, but I was ashamed of that because my friends were making fun of it, or the people I went to school with were making fun of it. So it does take a while for you to get older and to rise above that. But what was that moment for you that helped you to say, you know what, I'm not gonna be ashamed of being a book nerd anymore, or I'm not gonna be ashamed of my color anymore? What was it that made you say, I'm gonna rise above that?
Well, like I said, the first chapter of my life story is on Facebook. And a lady from Pakistan left a comment. And the thing that she said to me, I'll never forget it. She said in there, she said, wow, I never knew that girls in America had it worse than me. And she asked if she could inbox me. And I told her absolutely. And so we began to have a conversation just through Messenger. And I was like, wow. And she told me how much just that first chapter, how freeing it was for her. And I had no idea that just this conversation was freeing for me. I thought, wow, because I never thought I was good enough to help anyone. I never thought I was good enough to help anyone or to do anything good. So that kind of was the moment, like, wow, maybe this is the way. Maybe I can help someone this way, because I've always wanted to help. That's all I've always wanted to do, was to help someone or be someone's friend. Oh, I've always wanted that. And
you just had to throw that all in there. You had me all into it.
I just did. I've always wanted to do that. And I was like, man, this is really helping. And then more and more people began to comment. They just began to comment on that one chapter. And I was like, wow, I thought it was awful. But a lot of people.
Well, the thing is, you probably And one thing I tell my clients my coaching clients when they want to write, I'm like, you've got to strip down.
Yeah.
And when you strip down, even if the story isn't written perfect, they see you, and when they see you, they see themselves, and you're touching people. So you probably were able to touch a lot of people because you stripped down and became very honest.
Yeah. And that helped. And since then, it seems like I kept going. Pandemic, even me, the girl that glows too, basket full of lemon. I just kept going, kept going. And the writing just the books just kept coming and just kept coming. And then I met this young man I met him online, and he was like, well, do you think you know how to write hood books? I was thinking to myself, what's a hood book? But I was like, well, I do have that gift to write. So once he explained it to me, I was like, sure, I can do that.
Mm.
And I did. And
well, you're reaching people who are reaching out to you and asking you to write. They're curating with you.
yeah. Well, so it's like it seems like, but I'm naive, right? People, and I mean, let me put this out there. People will say, listen to how she talks. Listen to how she acts.
Mm-hmm.
As dark as she is on the outside, lily white on the inside. And so people began to just they took advantage of me, but you know what? They really couldn't take advantage of me because I don't care. I really liked helping people anyway. I still do. And I just know that writing is a gift that's inside of me, and it's a gift. So it's like, if I write a book and you say you're going to help me, and you end up taking off with it, because that's what happened the first couple times I went out there. It's okay though. It really is okay. First of all, that's a gift that God gave me. So just like I wrote that one, I can write another one.
Yes.
So now, that's that's what I got from that. And that's what actually happened to me.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to find great people you can surround yourself with who want to pour into you and watch your career grow and not just take from you, because unfortunately in this industry you are going to meet a lot of people who want to take from you. I mean, it's almost depressing when I think about the amount of people who took from me when I first got into the industry. But you don't stop. You just have to be a little bit more decisive as to who you're going to trust. And fortunately, you have two people on the show tonight that you can trust. But how many books do you have right now?
Let's see. I have Glow 1, Glow 2, Basket Full of Lemons, Pandemic, FMC Carswell, My Baby Blue, A Dream in Color 1 and 2, and Even Me. Also, Even Me just got translated to Spanish.
Yay!
So 9.
And you're also a playwright, so I'm guessing you've turned books into plays.
No, my plays were all different. Even
okay.
My plays are different, even more so than my books, and that just came about because I wanted to give a platform for people to learn how to get into on stage. Some kids, some mothers, they say, "Oh, I just want to get my baby on the stage." So I thought, Christmas time is a time that everybody likes. So my very first play was A Ghetto Child's Christmas Tale.
Okay.
And instead of it being Mary and Joseph in Bethlehem, it was Michi and JoJo in downtown Detroit.
Detroit? Nobody in Detroit.
because I was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay,
so Detroit is a city. And so I had this play. I mean, I transformed it. Instead of it being 3 shepherds and 3 wise men, I had 3 winos and 3 corner boys.
My goodness.
Now, Jesus was not born in a manger. He was born in an abandoned building, wrapped in dirty newspaper and a broke down laundry basket. I had singing angels, rapping angels, spoken word angels.
That sounds like that play was a hoot.
You know what? I haven't been able to put it down. It seems like people call for it all the time. And the very last time I did it, I added a male group. They sang Silent Night, the Temptations version.
Of
And my
course.
husband is a true bass and put that on there, and people went nuts. I mean, it just went. And so this year I'm encompassing the African American culture with the Hispanic culture. And so for Christmas this year, we're doing Jesus con Mica en el burrito. And that's Jesus and Mika on the little donkey. And everything that they see on the way to Bethlehem, we're going to see on stage. And I am just really excited. Yeah.
Nice. Now tell me about A Mother's Prayer.
Oh, A Mother's Prayer was a play that I did on May 19th. And it was everything. Now, that was a good play. I can say, I mean, I didn't know it was going to come across the way it was received. It was about, it started out with a young lady, and I can tell you her name is Candy, and that girl is bad. She has a voice of an angel. So it started off, she was in prison. And so I know everybody's used to all these stage plays with like the couch on the stage and all that. Well, I started off and I said, you know what? I want to make digital sets. Yeah. So I chose theaters that had large screens on stage. So I actually had them girls dressed in stripes, and the set behind them was a picture of a prison cell. She started off in prison, A Mother's Prayer. She was getting out. She got out, and then she had to deal with this boyfriend. I had him come back in her life, and he was a big drug dealer, and he was a rapper. I mean, it was amazing. When I tell you, it was everything. It was so well received, and that happened, and it was everything. I'm telling you. And I think I wish I had your number still, because I would send you the link where I was filmed, because it was actually filmed. It is that good.
You know, if you need my number, how easy it is to get my number. Don't play with me.
Well, you give it to me, and I'm going to send you that link, because it is a really good play. I am not kidding.
Okay.
I couldn't believe how well it
turned out. Seeing it. Yeah, I'll make sure you have my number.
Yeah, because it's really good, A Mother's Prayer, because it talked about how this mother was in prison and she was praying for her kids while her mother was at home praying for her.
Wow.
Okay? It talked about that. And I showed all of these different aspects about what these young women go through who actually do go to prison for these young men. Mm-hmm. And after being in there a long time, they come home, and then their mothers or grandmothers or aunties have raised their children, trying to come back into the world and raise these kids and live the right way. That play was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
So now, what do you think you enjoy more? Do you think you enjoy writing your books more, or do you enjoy your plays?
Both.
I knew you were going to say that. I was really hoping you wouldn't choose one, baby.
No, I like to, because it's all writing. And every time I do a play, I tell my husband, I'm so tired of this, because it is so much work. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm tired of this. And then
you go right back to it.
He says, you don't have to tell me, I know. Because it's really, it's like people don't understand how much it takes out of me. Like I have a full-time job, right?
Yes.
Like I just got off work today and ran in here and turned this computer on.
I got off work 10 minutes before I logged in, so don't feel bad.
So it's like when you do the play thing, it's like, okay, I got to buy these uniforms. I got to find and pay for the venue. People don't even know. All they know is I work with all these kids, and where did their mothers come from? The kids aren't the problem, it's their mama. You have all these young girls that are dancing, and then their mother's like, well, she's doing really good. Now, this is a week before the play. She's been doing so good back here. Don't you think she should be better in the front? And I'm like, honey, The girls are standing in the front. Their routine is totally different. Why
You
would
know,
you want to take your daughter who have excelled back here for months, put her up here, expect her to learn that routine and excel up here like she is back there?
see,
Well, I just know that my baby can do it.
I'm a theater mom, and I tried so
Ah,
hard. No, I tried so hard not to be that mom. I really did.
woo. I'm telling you, because I was like, my rehearsals are closed. Drop your kids off and I'll see you in 2 hours.
So
And
now
then
we do have a few minutes left. What do you have coming up next?
what I have coming up next, like I said, I just had a big show benefiting cancer on yesterday. So what's next is my play, Jesus Comica, in El Burrito. That's coming up next. That will be December 22nd at the Arlington Music Hall.
Okay.
Also, I have another book that I'm just waiting on my final editor to get back to me. So I have another book coming. I've got it. I'm ready to go.
Now, when is this book going to come out? Are you ready to tell us yet?
But I don't know when it's going to come out. I'm waiting for it to get back to me from my final editor. See,
Okay.
for me, when I write, I need to have 6 pair of eyes on it besides my own.
Nothing wrong with that. And I applaud that.
Yeah. I need 6 pair of eyes on it. I want 1 pair to concentrate solely on punctuation, 1 solely on spelling, 1 solely on subject and verb agreement, 1 solely on formatting, 1 solely on book cover, and 1 solely on just the flow of things. When I read a book, and I don't know if that makes sense, I want a book to flow like I'm watching a movie.
Yes, of course. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that the timeline makes sense.
Yes, it has to make sense, but it has to be entertaining.
Of course. Yeah. It needs to be entertaining, and everything needs to make sense. I mean, if I get to the end of the story, I'm like, wait a minute. I have gotten so frustrated with a story because I like to stick with the story all the way to the end, even if it's a little boring, even if it's I'm always hoping that it'll come together by the end. And so then when I finish reading it and it hasn't come together by the end, I get mad. And I have been known to throw a book across the room. I mean, I can overlook a typo or two. I can overlook a mistake, but if you kept me reading that book all this whole time and I don't feel like I've come to any type of closure with the story, I'm mad.
Me too.
See, you know what I'm talking about. Well, Onyx, I've got to say, I really enjoyed our conversation. And I wish you all the best. I love the fact that you are you're finding your niche, not just in the literary community, but in the theater community as well. And it's great because there's value in writing in both of those lanes. So I'm glad that you found that. And so I do hope that you find the people that you need to surround yourself with, because I just don't like it. I mean, we work so hard as authors, and then to have somebody come along and take from you or to lead you in the wrong direction I just feel like it's totally wrong. So hopefully you'll meet the right people. But like I said, you have me, and I hope you will listen in with our next interview when we talk to Richard Ashby, because he's somebody you want in your community as well.
Okay.
Trust that.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to put your website on the screen one more time. It's onyxisevidence.biz. So make sure you go there. You can find all of Onyx's books. You can click on that. You can purchase the book that way. You can go to Amazon and purchase the books. But let's support these authors. Let's get them on these bestseller lists, and let's get them to these New York Times bestseller lists. And let's keep them going, because we can't get mad and say there's nothing to read when we're taking from the good authors, the authors who are putting their everything into what they're doing. And I really feel like you are one of those authors who's putting her everything into what she's doing. So I want to see you keep going.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And thank you. You have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Onyx Brice. Or, excuse me, I'm just going to say Onyx. Yeah, I'm just going to say that was Onyx. And I don't say these things just to blow my guests up. I really want to make sure that everybody who watches the show supports the authors who come on the show, because that's what this show is all about. This show is here to help to provide a platform for the many authors who come on here looking for exposure for their books. And many of them have such powerful messages. And I really want to make sure that everybody who watches the show goes out and supports these books. So please make sure you do that. Now, speaking of supporting books, I will be doing another book signing on Saturday. So this past Saturday, I was at the National Harbor here in the DMV, and I was a part of the Mahogany Books Black Authors, excuse me, the Black Books Matter Festival, and it was amazing. And for those of you who know me, my books didn't come on time, so I was like, "What am I going to do? I don't have any books." But I decided to go out there anyway, and I took raffles, and I was able to give away a beautiful book basket with a copy of one of my books and a lot of really good book swag. And I'll be doing that same thing in Philadelphia on this coming Saturday. So if you were in the Philly area, make sure you come to the Pennsylvania Convention Center for the Indie Authors Book Fair. And if you want to know more about the Indie Authors Book Fair, let me introduce you to my next guest, Mr. Richard Ashby. Hello.
Hello. Can you see me?
I see you great.
Okay. How
So
are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm thank you for joining me. I was, let me tell y'all about this man right here. You know, this man snuck in my town and didn't even tell me he was here. And it's a shame. I really feel like we've seen each other a lot lately because we saw each other in New Orleans at the Black Caucus of the American Librarians Association, and that was 2 Saturdays ago. And then I saw you in DC at the Black Books Matter Festival, and now I'm going to see you this coming Saturday at the Independent. How do you say it? The Independent Book Authors Festival?
Yeah, we got to stop meeting like this. Your boyfriend's a nice guy. My wife's a wonderful woman. We got to stop meeting.
Well, that just shows that we're all family. That's what that means.
You know what I'm saying? But when you called me, first of all, good evening and thank you for having me on. But when you called me and I was laid across the bed, you're like, you was like, Richard, how did? Don't tell me you came to my town and didn't speak, didn't let me know you were here. I'm like, now how does she know that I'm in town? And then I saw my cousin on my way over to see you. My cousin said, I want to tell you what I told her because I'm always bragging about you, always bragging about my cousin, the librarian. And she was like, I know Richard,
Yeah,
Well,
she was bragging on you. She said, "My cousin is a librarian." I said, "Oh, really? Yeah, he's in Philadelphia. He's gotten lots of accolades." I was like, "Really?" Yeah, in fact, he was the president of the American Librarians Association. Richard? She said, "Yeah." I said, "I know Richard Ashby." She was bragging on you.
but this goes to show you, you have to be kind and respectful to everybody because you don't know who is going to know who.
Yes.
Then the jig is up, as we say. The gig is up.
That is so right. That is so right. But now I was just bragging on you to our last guest, Onyx. So, and I told her that you are somebody that she wants to get to know. So, not just telling Onyx, but can you tell our guest who is Richard Ashby Jr.?
Oh, okay. I'm a librarian. I'm a child of God. In my past lives, I've been the president of the New York Black Librarians Caucus. I have been the president of the National Black Librarians Caucus of American Librarians Association. I am the president of Literacy Nation, what our motto is with literacy and justice for all, because you can have all the liberty you want, but without literacy, you will have no justice. And Literacy Nation is an organization, it's a movement that empower, acknowledge, and celebrate independent authors and their voices. And we have put over 3,000 books into the library over the last 2.5 years. I'm also the director of the Sharon Hill Public Library, and I am the incoming vice president of the Pennsylvania Library Association. I'm the first African American Black librarian to hold that position.
That is amazing, and congratulations. And all the bragging that your cousin did on you, well deserved.
Oh, thank you.
Now, what's this Elisa's telling us? She says she has news for us. She grew up in D.C., and this is her town. She was the first debutante when D.C. cable was launched under Marion Barry, and which is awesome. First of all, there's a statue of Marion Barry right outside my job. I love looking at that statue. And she says she's so amazed at our accomplishments. Well, I'm amazed at Elisa's accomplishments because she's done some wonderful things. And eventually I'm going to have her on the show to talk about her foundation and the wonderful things that she's doing for people with autoimmune diseases. So she definitely needs to be on the show.
I was just doing some research on Mayor Barry last week. And
okay.
What a wonderful man he was. And everybody makes mistakes, and he deserves to be celebrated.
He absolutely does, because people remember him by the mistake that he made, but they don't realize all that he did for the city of Washington, D.C.
Listen, if all my mistakes was uncovered, I'd be someplace in the stripes. Please.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, though. I do. But now let's move on to something cheerful. This coming Saturday is the Independent Book Festival. Can you tell us a bit about it?
So the Independent Book Festival is a celebration of independent authors. It's on August 10th at the Pennsylvania Convention Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All of our authors that will be there are members of Literacy Nation. All of the authors that will be there will have their books cataloged and put immediately into the library. So we're not just interested in you coming and you selling your books. We're interested in you coming and developing.
That is awesome.
Dr. Rhonda will host the workshop. We have Vanessa Tyler from the Black News Network. She will host a panel discussion. We have Edward Sargent from the DC area. He's a newscaster and a journalist in DC. He will also be hosting the session. And that area of the convention center will be called the media zone. And then we have the children's zone, where authors will be able to do short story times with the kids and get them interested in the book and say, well, you want to hear the rest of the story? Go inside and purchase my book. Go to the library and read it at the library. And then we have face painting for the children. We have photographers coming in. We're going to have a good time. We have a voters registration because we have work to do.
Oh, absolutely.
We got work to do. And so we will have a voters registration table there also.
So there's a lot going on at this festival. This isn't just some regular book signing.
No. This is a platform for independent authors to celebrate each other, to network. If you come and you don't sell a book, you're going home with something. You're going home with your book catalogs into the World Cat. You're going home with your book put into the library system. And the young lady, Onyx, was talking about how she was ripped off before. And there's so many, I call them hucklebucks out here, ripping authors off left and right. I don't even know how they go to sleep. We had one young man, he took one of my author's books and he edited. And I read it, and the first 2 lines had maybe 8, 9 typos, punctuations, and misspelled words. And I called.
It had you wondering what he was reading, huh?
No, this hucklebuck, he said, and he charged her he only charged her $700 to edit the book. Okay, well, $500 to edit the book. So I called him and I said, what's going on with this book? So he said, "Oh, are we edited?" I'll say, "Okay, who's we? Who's we?" "Oh, my daughter edited. His daughter was in the 8th grade, and she got A's. So he thought that he could have his daughter edit the book." And I tell everybody, because your daughter got an A in 8th grade English, she's not an editor.
Wow.
Because your cousin Pookie graduated 3rd in a class of 2, does not mean he's an editor. You have to spend money on yourself. You have to invest in yourself. Stop trying to take shortcuts.
Absolutely.
When I put that book in the library, I'm putting my reputation behind that book. Because that book otherwise would not get in the library. And I'm saying, I'm bringing this book to the party. If you brought me to a party and I got there and I start throwing up all over the furniture and put my feet up on the furniture, they're going to look at you like you crazy. Same thing with books. If I bring a book to the library and that book is not edited right, that book is not formatted right, that book has been printed by Jerry and Tiffany's printing press in their basement, you know, you're messing with my reputation.
Well, now Lisa is asking if there's an admission fee for the festival this weekend and how can she volunteer?
Lisa is now my best friend. Lisa, the admission is free. You can volunteer. You can text me. I'm gonna give you my phone number. Everybody has my phone number. It's online. My phone number is 646-721-1358. There's a hotel right across the street from.
Okay, so I think Richard's going to be back. He went out for a second, but he will be right back. So we're not going to panic. We're just going to keep on rolling. So I'm going to go ahead and put up my flyer once again. This is for the Pennsylvania. It'll be at the Pennsylvania Convention Center, August 10th. It will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I will have copies of my novella Trust. And I'm telling you, Trust is so good. And I'm not saying it because I wrote it. I'm telling you because the story is bomb. You're going to enjoy it. But this is going to be at the Indie Authors Book Fair. And just like Richard said, I will be teaching a class there on how you can build your brand as an author. So I want to make sure you're there. And I'll be helping out with a few other things that Richard has me doing. So I'm going to be doing all kinds of things. I'm going to be selling my books. I'll be talking about my services. I will be teaching a workshop. And I think you have me hosting something too, huh? You're going to have me working that day.
Yeah, you're gonna be very busy. You're gonna be in the media room. So you're going to be in the media room and you're going to be working with you and Vanessa Tyler, tag teaming on everything.
That'll be fun.
Also, we're going to have a session called speed pitching.
Oh, nice.
So we want to see where the authors are at with their speed pitch. And then from there, we'll develop a workshop later on down the line to teach them how to speed pitch. But we want to bring it to, it's going to be a lot of fun. The author will get a minute and a half. Because when you walk into that library cold and that library don't know you're coming in with your book, you have to get it out a minute and a half because after that, they got to go. So
now, what are some of the elements of a good pitch?
Who, what, when, where? Who are you? What do you have? When would you like to set up a meeting? And where would you like for me to put your book? Because you could put the book, I want you can have the book put into the collection. You can have the book put in the local author's shelf. And so you want to address those things. So it would be like, hi, my name is Richard Ashby. I've written a book called How to Grow Hair. I would like for you to put this book in your system. It's already been cataloged into the WorldCat, and it's already been Kirkus reviewed. Is there a time we can set up and we can talk about this book and possibility of me doing a workshop or book signing in your library? That's all she want to hear.
Okay. And I tell people often too that don't sleep on the library. I know sometimes, especially with newer authors, they think, well, the library is going to give away my book for free. How am I going to make money off of that? And they forget that many libraries order books.
No, And so we teach you how to market for yourself. See, marketing is a tool that needs professionalism to it. And marketing is a tool that you need to get behind so you can put a face to that book, put a soul to that book. And
Yes.
so there is marketing, and there are people who can market your book. But then one of the best people who can market your book is yourself and your family if you're short on cash. And so what we do is this: we tell you, you give us one book. So people want to give me, I have 5 books. Put 5 of my books in your library. No, you don't want your book, 5 books in your library. You want, I'm only going to catalog one book, one copy of your book, because if there's a pair of sneakers out there and 20 people want that sneaker, the price of that sneaker is going up, right? And the demand for that sneaker is there. So if I catalog one book for you, and then you go get that book Kirkus reviewed, you should have your book Kirkus reviewed, and you get your book Kirkus reviewed, and then I put the book in the library. Now the book is Kirkus reviewed, it's in the library, and it's cataloged.
Mm-hmm.
You're on your way. But then what you do is you sit down at your desk and you call your local library and you ask for your book. And they're going to say, we don't have a copy of that book. That's when the fun begins.
Oh,
Then,
okay.
then you say, oh, well, can you interlibrary loan? She said interlibrary loan. Who's this on the phone? Because this is library jargon. So you got to speak their language. And so you ask to have it interlibrary loaned. Can you interlibrary loan? And I know it's in Philadelphia. I know it's in Pennsylvania. Can you look it up for me in the WorldCat? And then they'll look it up and they'll see there's one copy in Philadelphia. And then they'll send a message to my library to send that book to Kalamazoo, to Onyx.
Okay.
And then Onyx is going to have a girlfriend call and ask for it. Her girlfriend calls. Now you got 9, 10 people from all over the country waiting on that book. What's going to happen? Somebody's got to start buying that book, because this book is hot, folks. This Onyx, who's this Onyx girl? Everybody all over the country is waiting for this book. We got 15, 20, 30 people waiting on this book.
You know what that is? That's marketing, and you haven't spent a dime.
Not a dime.
Love it.
Then one day, Onyx and her beautiful self step into the library, and she says, "Hi, I'm Onyx, and I'm an author." What? Wait a minute. You're the one that's making all this noise about this book, because you're going to get people to also go in and ask for the book. You don't have the book? Oh my God. Well, can you order it? Where can you find it? Well, it's in Pennsylvania, but there's only one copy. And you got 20 people waiting on the book. Because from Kalamazoo, now it's got to go to New Jersey. And after New Jersey, now it's got to go over here. So
it's time for the library to go ahead and put an order in.
That's how you do it, folks.
All right, Onyx, I hope you're hearing all of this. That's what I'm talking about. But really, though, that is really good marketing, and you haven't spent anything. But now, speaking of spending, you mentioned Kirkus reviews, and for a lot of authors, that's a very scary thing, because number one, getting a Kirkus review is not cheap, and then number two, not everybody who pays for a Kirkus review is going to get a good review. Sometimes you might get a mid review.
Now listen, that's what I want to tell you. You're not going to always get a good review. That's when you have to become your own advocate, because Kirkus reviewed a book once, and they obviously didn't even read the book. They said that the woman didn't have, she was a book for children about money. And they said she didn't have anything about $5 bills and nickels and whatever. And that was crazy. And we had to take and make screenshots of the book and send it back to him, send it back to his editor-in-chief, and send a copy of that to the president of Kirkus. And they apologized and rewrote the editorial, the review. I know about 4 or 5 people who have gotten their book review changed in the last year and a half.
Wow.
Now, the thing is, it says you have to get your book Kirkus reviewed. It doesn't say you have to get a star. or 2 stars. It just said get it reviewed. And the knowledge, and we're bringing this knowledge to my fellow librarians, is that just because somebody sitting in Oshkosh, Washington, don't like the book, don't mean that's not a good book. Because that person reading that book have no idea what the Black culture is like, no idea what it's like to grow up as a Muslim in Philadelphia, which the book was written about. They have no idea about what they're reading, so they don't like the book. So because the book does not have a favorable review, does not mean it won't get into the library. More
Right.
than likely, nowadays, with today's climate, it will get into the library because it's a Black book about a Black person, about Black culture. And we know there's not enough Black librarians or Black people reviewing these books. And that's where we come in again. We have our own, we have our own reviewers. That's where we come in. We are cataloging the books ourselves.
Mhm.
There was a book called All Black Everything. Karen up in Pittsburgh cataloged as All Black Everything. And we told Karen that it was everything, not everything. She said there's no such word as everything. I said there is such word as everything.
Oh, Richard then went out again. Well, I hope he comes back soon because one of the things I want to talk to him about is he mentioned the importance of having Black librarians. And as I mentioned earlier in our interview, that I went to the Black Caucus of the American Librarians Association. And while I was there, I got to know a lot of Black librarians. And it really brought the point home why Black librarians are so important. And so that's one of the things that I want to talk to Richard about. And I see he's back.
Yes. So, long story short, she wouldn't change the book. She wouldn't catalog it correctly. I said, well, you said the word everything 3 times. So for it not to be a word, you're using it awful lot. And we went out and purchased our own subscription to the WorldCat. And we have our catalogers out of Princeton University, out of Georgia, out of Connecticut, and Indiana. And these Black women are cataloging Black books ourselves.
Wonderful. See, this is why I was talking about when you went out for a second. This is the importance of having Black librarians because you can advocate for Black books.
Yes.
So, talk a little bit about. I know we have a little bit of time left. Why did you decide to become a librarian, and when did you realize the importance of having more Black librarians?
I decided to become a librarian. First of all, I never planned on being a librarian. I wanted to be a Baptist minister and a congressman. That's what I wanted to be about. And that's what my daydreams are about. Most of my daydreams are about preaching. And when I sit around just daydream, I dream about preaching. Um, I was a horrible student. I was an absolute horrible student. I didn't go to kindergarten, so first grade was a shock. It didn't take, and I got left back in the 12th grade. I mean, who gets left back in the 12th grade on the last day of school? You know what I'm saying?
Now, Richard,
And
what were you doing in high school now?
I was just I was always a good kid. I was always a very good kid. I was joking about the stripes before, but I was never a bad kid. I was always a good kid. I was always a nerd, but I was a nerd that wasn't. I was always smart, but I wasn't book smart because I couldn't read very well. And when I was 16 years old, growing up in New York City, my cousin played with Benny King and he played with Chaka Khan, and I would hang out on Friday nights at the Apollo in Manhattan Center. And one of my friends came to me one Friday and he's like, "Hey guys, what are you guys doing for the weekend?" And I said, "We're going to the Apollo. What are you doing?" He's like, "There's a program at the library tonight." And I was like, "The library? Who goes to the library on Friday nights?" And I thought it was the funniest thing. I could go to the library. And I brought him to tears because I was ruthless. And my mom came outside and she goes, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Chucky's going to the library." And my mother was like, "Shut up. Leave Chucky alone." And she's like, "You know what?" She stopped and she looked at me and she said, "One day you're going to be a librarian." And I said to myself, this woman's crazy. I'm in like the 12th grade reading on 5th grade level. I mean, who's going to be a librarian? And she worked with me and she worked with me. And I did a second year of high school, and they put me in college, and I failed out of college my first year. And she took me, she put me in an all-white college, and they called her up and told her to come get me because I wasn't college material. My mother came up to the college. She's asking, she speak to me in the dorm room. She said, strip to your underwear. And that little lady from North Carolina beat me like I stole something. She said, you're intelligent, you're just lazy, you're very smart, and I'm not going to have you. I will not lose you to the streets. I'll kill you before I lose you to the streets. Besides that, you're a tough guy. You can't make it on the streets. And she said, pick a G. Give me, I said, what's a G? What's a G? She said, the graveyard or graduation. And that summer, I really applied myself. It's like, I tell everybody, it's like something exploded in my head. And I went from like a 1.97 cum to a 3.8 in one semester. And then I just became this super smart nerd guy. And I never planned on working in the library still. And I was going through a very bad divorce. And my mother said, somebody said to me, why don't you somebody said, why don't you take a part-time job in the library as a security guard? I was like, I have a degree. Now, remember, I barely graduated high school. And I'm like, I've got a degree. I'm not working as a security guard. And my mother said, well, if you worked as a security guard, Richie, then your son could come to the library after school and you could watch him and you could be with him since she's like not letting you see him when you want. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I went to work in the library and I went from security guard and I received my degree. I went back to school at the age of 55 to get my degree. I'll be 70 this year. I went back to school at the age of 55 to get my degree, and I never spent one day as a librarian. I've always been a library director.
Wow, that is an amazing story. So thank you for sharing that, by the way, because there could be somebody out here right now who's listening to that and will be inspired by that.
Yes. I don't mind telling my story because it's laced with God all throughout it. You know, all through my story. And people are like, oh, you should write a book. And I was like, if I wrote a book, you wouldn't believe it. I had my degree all of 3 weeks and I became the president of the New York Black Librarians. Now tell me, how does that happen? What does that happen in America?
I love it. I love it. I love it. But I want to thank you for being on the show. We do have your website on the screen right now. So if you are an author, make sure you go to literacynationinc.org. That's Literacy Nation, inc.org. Find out information on how to be a member of Literacy Nation. Richard gave out his phone number a little earlier. If you would like to contact him about being a volunteer for the Independent Book Festival, which will be taking place this weekend at the Pennsylvania Convention Center.
Yes, so my number, once again, is 646-721-1358. I'm the president of Literacy Nation, and that's the type of organization this is, where you can call the president because it's not that serious. You can call me and we have a conversation, and whatever it is, we'll work it out. We'll make it work for you, and we'll put a Band-Aid on it, and you'll be all right.
All right. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So last words, anything that you'd like to let the people know?
Yes. Independent authors are valued. They're celebrated. Don't let anybody change your voice or alter your voice. Always be authentic, be your authentic self, and everything will work out okay.
Wonderful. Thank you once again for being on the show. You know, you're always welcome to come back anytime you'd like. Really enjoyed our interview. Very inspirational. And I look forward to seeing you this weekend.
See you Saturday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. That is another episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. I told you it was going to be a good show. We had two amazing guests. Both of them have wonderful inspiration. That's what this is all about. So if you are if you're anywhere in the country and you're a reader, you need to be picking up Onyx's books. And if you're in Philadelphia, make sure you come out to the Independent Book Festival at the Philadelphia Convention Center. And then swing by my table. Girl, I'd love to get you a copy of my book. But if the big thing, I got to remind you, the For the Culture Book Awards. Submission is open September 1st. If you are a fiction author, and I didn't tell you this earlier, but if you are writing books that uplift the Black community, you definitely want to be in this contest. Everybody who enters will get all types of exposure. Your followers are most likely going to grow from this. You're going to be able to sell some books, but the winners, there's going to be 3 winners, first, second, and third prize. You're going to get cash. You're going to get an exposure package. You're going to get a badge to put on your website. So much that you're going to be able to get, and you're going to be able to solidify as a respected author in this industry. So I really want you to be a part of this. That's For the Culture Book Awards. It's a contest exclusively for fiction authors. So if you go to my website, www.mtwimagesolutions.com, I will put the website in the chat. Just go to the website and you can find out more information about the contest. There we are. You'll find out more information about the contest. You'll find out what the rules are, what the guidelines are, what you need to do, how much it's going to cost, because there is a small fee attached to it, but don't worry, it's nothing crazy. You're going to get so much more out of it. www.mtwimagesolutions.com/contest 2024. And you'll find out more information about that. I can't wait to see your books, people. And I really can't wait to help you to promote those books and get you the exposure that you deserve. So that's all I have for this week, everybody. Next week, we will have 2 more amazing guests. We're going to be talking about some different genres I think you might want to hear about. And then I want to make sure that you hit me tomorrow when I co-host Black Authors Matter TV on the National Black Book Festival Facebook page. So lots going on this week. I can't wait. Huge shout out to my crew of Pyros family. I can't wait to see you all this weekend. We're going to have a really good time. And if you're coming to the Fire Fest, come talk to your girl. All right, that's all I have, guys. You have a wonderful evening. God bless you and keep reading.